Excited to be here today with Bob Hamrick. We're going over the February stats. We call this the Market Pulse. Bob, great to have you here.
Thanks, George. Great to be here. Nice to see you again.
What do you think about February?
I think February was a typical month. It's a shortened month. We had a few less listings that came to the market, but we had a nice surge in sales, about 10% more sales and 11% more closings. So that's all good.
You've been doing this. You chew on the stats. That's why I have you here, right? We know the old story. Folks don't list their homes in the holiday times, December, so we have tighter inventory, less folks shopping for homes, but it opens up. So we went 2,200 in January, 2,400-ish in February. What do you think is going to happen in March?
Well, I'm certainly feeling the surge. We're filming this in early March, and the bottom line is that we're seeing listings coming on the market, selling quickly. The days on the market that we're observing is low. The luxury side remains extremely strong. I'm expecting a good spring season. There's certainly some things out there in the geopolitical side that have us a little concerned and questioning where everything is going. But overall, I'm very optimistic.
You taught me this years ago, you have these typical seasons, right? And the spring has always been known as a good season to sell. But in a bad market, the spring doesn't help you. But it seems like rates have come down. And it seems like there's a lot of appetite. People are anxious to shop for homes. We just don't have a lot of inventory. So what advice do you have for folks talking to buyers and sellers out there? Like what is, why would somebody want to buy a home today or possibly sell their home today?
Well, because it's only going to cost more in the future. And I personally believe that we've got a tremendous amount of pent-up demand. We were talking earlier about the numbers. If it's 2,000 closings a month and we're used to 3 or 4, and this has been going on for 2 years, then we're talking about what, 12, 24, 48,000 potential buyers that didn't get to buy and still want to. And some of them are getting upset. I need to buy and I'm not going to put it off any further. So they're recognizing, in my opinion, there's an acceptance that interest rates are not going to come down as low as they may have hoped. And they're seeing that property values are continuing to go up. Our average sales price, $485, right?
That's right.
That is an all-time high. And so it took us a while to get back to that. But the rest of the story is it's continuing to go up. So buy now, refinance later.
We've all had that thing we wanted to buy and we wanted it here and it went there. And we finally said, you know what? I'm not going to be stubborn because I don't want to pay for it here. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what people are doing. And rates have ticked down, right? So that is adding extra fuel. Someone said the other day that 0.5% or so drop in rates is like a $40K bump in borrowing power.
Yep.
So that just basically gave a bigger, net of homes that people can shop for. That has to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say an interesting observation, and you may have seen the article of the fact that cancellations have been increasing. And so that is something that I think we all as realtors need to be on top of and stay ahead of. If you as an agent have low cancellation rates, then that's something that is of value. And when we're seeing 22% perhaps of transactions cancel, that's not healthy. It's not healthy for our homeowners. It's not healthy for buyers. It's not healthy for agents. So we need to be ahead of that and try and do things as much as we can to avoid them.
Broker to broker, I think we both know why that happens, right? There could be a listing agent that got bamboozled by possibly what they thought was the highest and best offer because the net isn't always possibly what's best. Obviously, You always go to your broker for advice. We're not here to advise you, but you got to look at, who the lender is, what the down payment is, were they vetted? Did they look at the tax returns and all that? So maybe, agents are going for that big number at the first page of the contract, but they weren't digging into the rest. And that makes it harder for the seller because then they got to go back out to market. And sometimes people are like, well, what was wrong with it, right? So advice is let's get it right the first time.
Absolutely. And if you track, in my observation, it sells once for this much. It sells the next time for a little less and the next time for a little less. So we're not doing our clients justice if we don't make sure that the first sale is the right sale. So I think another observation that I've had is that buyers are getting mortgage payment shock And how can they get mortgage payment shock after they've gotten their offer accepted? That's too late. So we have to do a great job of emphasizing this is the payment. Do you get it? Are you comfortable with it? Are you prepared for it? Because oftentimes afterwards it's like, what? That's going to be my payment?
Yeah, I think it doesn't settle in until you actually start paying it, though.
Right.
That's really
well,
when
then it's closed.
I know. And then it's a sale, and that's already a stat that we're talking about.
Right.
But I think that's something we need to make sure agents are speaking to their consumers about, like, hey, are you comfortable spending 45% of your take-home money on your home? That might cut, eating out or travel or other things, but obviously home is really what everybody wants. That's what I love about our business. We get to share the keys with people. This is like the biggest and best, greatest thing in the world.
Yep.
It's not a car that's going to have a flat tire and break down. Yes, there are repairs on homes, but it's home. It's where, birthdays and all the celebrations. So we're a part of a special thing.
We definitely are. I've said repeatedly, being a great real estate agent is a very noble cause. What we are able to achieve. We've been using the term generational wealth. It's true. When you look at those that are able to purchase, they are creating generational wealth, and certainly for themselves in a much better position than they were before. So it's a good job that we have if we do it right.
Yeah. Or let's talk condos, right? We always talk homes, but condos too, right?
Yep.
There was a bump. 293 to 303 now, month over month, so about a 3%. What do you think? Last month they weren't doing condos. Is that just a seasonality thing? Like, any idea?
I personally think that first, it's a small data set. So many more single family residences sell, so you will see less variation in numbers on the single family residence side. So it's hard to know exactly if we saw real appreciation or if the type of properties that we're selling were different type of property.
You drop a few high rises in there, there
Bingo.
goes your number, right?
Yeah,
so it all depends on which ones we're moving. So that could fluctuate.
Right.
A chat that John Gaffer and I had last month was, I thought condos and smaller homes in the lower end would move, better right now because money's tight and everything else. But he felt that those borrowers might be more affected by rates, and the higher end actually have a little more muscle and flexibility with more, wealth actually to be able to purchase. You think that's the case?
I think that's the case. I also think when you look at condos, while they are less expensive than the average home, my concern is whether or not HOAs are going up and insurance is going up and in HOAs. So that might cause the net price to be a little bit higher. So I think that's something that one needs to look at and be concerned about.
Yeah, you always look at the disparity in price, right? What you get for what you pay for. And if the condo is a third of the price, you'll do it. But when it gets up to like 75% of the price, then you're like, I don't get a garage and I got to carry my groceries upstairs, or start saying, well, I'm going to buckle up and get the house. So I guess we'll have to see how it bears out.
The other thing is it is condo townhouse. And so when you get that townhouse segment, you're getting a lot closer to a single family residence. And so the townhouse piece to me feels a lot closer to a home.
Yeah, garage, backyard often, little side yard and everything else. Good point, Bob.
Yeah.
So you and I have known each other a long time. Do you know about this time of year, 22 years ago, I joined your company. I interviewed with two others. You know those guys too, and nice men. But I felt hook, line, and sinker for you. You made me feel like I was going to be there. Was it me? Did you see something in me, or was that the spiel you give everybody coming in?
It was just you. No, well, look back on it, and where are you now? And it's not because of me, but you are a quality individual. You do the right thing. You make the right choices. You go about your business. You're a businessman. And so that's what we need more of. I'm proud of what you've been able to achieve. And maybe this is the time where I can say that I'm grateful for what you have accepted. You've accepted a thankless job as the president of our association at a time that is so challenging. And I and so many other brokers are very grateful for what you are doing to get us back on the right track. So thank you.
Thanks for saying it. I thank the people who did it before I did, that afforded me the career that I've had to be able to provide for my child and my family. It is thankless, but it's important, and somebody has to do it.
Yep.
So going back to our time when we first started doing business together, back then, sellers didn't know what their homes were worth, and buyers didn't know which homes they were going to tour until they came to the office that morning, right? And they used to get in our cars back then. Now they follow more, right? Things have changed. But 22 years later, the realtor is still in the center of the transaction, and I don't care how many homes they've bought in the past. I'm curious if you believe that, like I do, that they want us there, and they're looking for affirmation, pat on the back. They want the advice, like, we are not going anywhere, and we need to highlight our skills. And that's what this video's out there. It's not just stats. We talk little stats, market's healthy, but who are we? We're realtors, and we're important, and we want to get that message out to the community.
Amen. Personally, August 17th, it was August 17th, right? That's the date. I think that was one of the best things that could have happened, all in retrospect. I am glad that it happened, although it was a catastrophe in many situations and very expensive. But the bottom line is, we now have the ability to cause a buyer to appreciate the value that we bring to the table. And if we're ineffective at doing it, then our value is reduced. And if we do a good job, then they recognize what it is that we bring to the table. So can't talk commissions and all the rest, but the bottom line is, I believe that, well, I know that my organization is seeing a northern trend on the buy side. So that's great.
It's been better, I think, for many brokers in town and agents. And another thing that I liked about what happened was, as soon as I realized when we took the buy side commission out of the listing agreement, we stopped letting somebody else negotiate for us on the buy side. Because the way it was, whoever got in that living room got to set the table.
Absolutely.
And really, who knows who was coming in, and were they worthy, and were they going to earn that, and all that. So I think it just made it a lot easier. It makes, to me, we should have probably done this a long time ago without the litigation and everything. And I think there have been chats about this. So big picture, real estate market's vibrant. It's a great time to be a realtor, great time to join the association, great time to hang in there if times are tough. What can you say going away?
Well, I think the rest of it is that when you and I were working together, and in those years, we weren't seeing ridiculous appreciation. And what we were having to sell was the emotion of owning. We had to sell the fact that long-term, this is going to work well. We also had to sell the fact that this is going to be your mortgage payment. This might be your rent payment. But the reality is, when you look at the appreciation and the opportunities for upside and the tax benefits, then you're in a much better place. I think we got away from that. And what we only say is, well, this home sold for $300,000 last year, and now it's selling for $350,000. Well, if that doesn't continue, we got to sell the real stuff and the real value of home ownership. We got to get back to that.
I agree 100%. Bob, thanks for coming, bud.
You bet. Enjoyed it. Good seeing you.
Thank you for watching our Market Pulse. I'm bringing new guests every month to go over our stats. It's here to help you agents. Thank you.